Aries, you might be disappointed that I am reviewing a new #1 from Image instead of Fantastic Force or that Doctor Strange where Rintra dies. But here we have Fireborn, issue 1 from April of this year. Issue 2 came out last month, and I suppose 3 will be dropping this week, maybe. Anyway, I want to start with 2 big positives. This is double length. That is wonderful. It helps this first issue feel a lot less like a preview for a series. I got enough content here. If it was 24 pages, I don't think we would have. The other thing is that this is from the world of Lost Fantasy. Lost Fantasy is another series by the main writer here. I've not read it. But what I want to say is that they both have amazing names. This and Lost Fantasy, they are great names for comics. There's a lot of science behind naming a series, and it often goes ignored. What I'm saying is, I would rather read a book called Fireborn than I would ever want to read something called Helverine. Fucking abysmal name, that. And then there's stuff like Weapon H. That sounds like something you would put on your arse. The comic I always remember as having the worst title ever is Ultimate Comics, Ultimate Avengers vs. New Ultimates, The Death of Ultimate Spider-Man. In the time it takes you to say that title, you can read the fucking comic. I'll start off by name-dropping the creators. Curt, Pires and Franklin Jonas are the writers, and Patrick Mulholland is the artist. And together, they bring us the story of Fireborn. What the fuck? It's not all roses, because we have the "you're probably wondering how I got here" structure. And Fireborn, A is the singer of My Chemical Romance. And A is not okay, I promise. A swears a lot. And he even smokes. Teenagers, eh? They scare the shit out of me. Aaron, as he is called, he bonds with a mystical dragon. That is our origin. I don't think that part is communicated to the reader the clearest. But Aaron and the dragon, they become Fireborn. And he is effing and jeffing all over the place. And you actually won't believe this. He even calls someone a motherfucker. I'll come to the tone of the book in a bit, but right now I'll say I don't know if Fireborn was in Lost Fantasy or if this is his debut. I've not read Lost Fantasy. Maybe the dragon is from Lost Fantasy, but that is me speculating. I really don't know anything about Lost Fantasy. There's a hot blonde, that's all I know. A point I want to make is that as much as I hate these types of indulgent title pages, they are much less of an insult to a paying customer when it is a giant size issue with no advertisements. Now we start the story where we should have started it, the start. And the swearing is very prevalent and even cringy. Every page has said fuck at least once so far. It is a thin line between realistic dialogue an embarrassing immaturity for the sake of it. It feels like it's written by 12-year-olds who have just found out they are allowed to swear. We are better introduced to Aaron here. He is Mr. Angst. He is an angsty teen boy. Welcome to his black parade. He has a bad relationship with his estranged dad. But what I think really gets him down is that he has an iPhone that says confirmed instead of confirmed. While this is going on, we have a parallel story with a smuggler being chased. He is in another world, a world of magic and fantasy, some of it possibly lost. But he has stolen a dragon egg, and he also has a thing that lets him teleport. The more substantive stuff is setting up our lead character, and he is also into parkour. That should come in handy. He's a regular Peter Parkour. Although actually this is a rare instance where I would say our teen hero isn't so blatantly a Peter Parker photocopy. He is still a teenager with issues, and Spider-Man comics were the important progenitor of that, in the medium at least. But had I not thought of Peter Parkour, Spider-Man wouldn't have been mentioned in this video at all as a comparison. His dad is a crooked real estate developer. He is very rich, but an absent father. He definitely never took his son into the city to see a marching band. Our two strands will intersect. Edgar, the man from these bits, he is being pursued by these other people, and they all teleport to Aaron's dimension, our world. A homeless person sees them warp in and declares, "Okay, that's it, no more fence." That actually got a laugh out of me. The homeless person saying something wacky and going, "No more hooch from me," that is very done to death, but that they updated it to fentanyl, that made me laugh. They literally bump into each other, Aaron and Edgar. Edgar, he is, or he was, stealing a dragon egg, which is where that dragon comes from. And then here is what I am inclined to think is entirely lore from Lost Fantasy. We have a vision of a future, a dragon setting the world ablaze, Fireborn fighting an eye-patched warrior in eternal combat. When I am talking about or explaining stuff, I don't always get the chance to highlight art. We have a really lovely page layout here. Reminds me a lot of the stuff we have seen in Obsolete Wonder Woman. I'm sure we had a page just like this in one of those. The idea is, as I mentioned at the top, Aaron bonds with the dragon egg and the dragon inside. I wish they had a line somewhere that just spelt that out a bit better. It comes across as the origin feeling like a low priority to the story that is being told. I don't want to sit here and say what I would do better or suggest something else, but I feel like there should have been more focus on this part of the origin, the egg in general, but him and the egg definitely. Here is our villain from the fantasy world. we have the two worlds. I mean, this is definitely something I would expect to be the whole thing of Lost Fantasy. We could have done with a little bit of text on the title page explaining that there are two worlds or two planes or whatever. There is the fantasy world, and then, as they call it, the world above, which is our world. You can pick it up from this issue. They're just not as upfront about it. But I will not hold it against this comic. Obviously, if you've read Lost Fantasy, I'm fair in assuming it is very much explained in that. We are caught up. This is where we came in. What makes this interesting is what we see of the fantasy world. It's not straight up magic wizards and orange goblins. It's a hybrid. It's a bit like the steampunk equivalent of fantasy. Like these fellas after Edgar, they are just straight up a mystically powered biker gang. And now we have our action scene. Aaron transforms into Fireborn and beats these guys off. I'm not sure of Fireborn's powers exactly, but I'm also assuming that is intended as a story arc, him discovering much of his powers as he goes along. It can be disrespectful to compare something new to a dozen other things, but I see it as being more a useful form of idea communication to a prospective reader, rather than me saying Firebomb is unoriginal or ripping something off. I consider this to be very similar to Invisible. We have the young hero, we have the foul language, the violence. It feels right in the same ballpark as Invisible. It's actually quite a smart release. Invisible is in the zeitgeist, and it has been for a lot longer than I thought it would be. And it is good to put out something like this that I think would appeal to Invisible fans. And it can maybe bridge a couple of Invisible fans onto more books. But perhaps the true potential of this series is that Aaron could also one day be raped by a woman. Also prawn, another thing I thought of, another similar thing, not another thing that should rape him. I get a very tiny little bit of prawn in Firebomb. The supernatural and the villains. I don't think these comparisons are down to Firebomb doing references to them. Although even Obsolete Batman, I think there is a similarity there. This fight scene. Hurry up and do an Excellent Men #1 homage, so I don't look like I am just being told what it's like by covers. When I mentioned the violence, you might have been thinking I was being overdramatic about a bloke being punched in the face, but this does get quite violent after that. The thing about this issue is that I think this stuff is good, the action, and Aaron was set up efficiently, I would even say correctly, but the problem lies in the other exposition. I get that with writers, there is a stigma around exposition. Obvious exposition is generally frowned upon or looked down on. It is a source of criticism if a writer ever does something that is very blatantly there for exposition. And exposition is chiefly why I don't write. I could never make exposition sound right. I am good at writing characters and voices, but I just couldn't juggle that with the needs of a narrative. And maybe here, where you're seeing them purposely avoid certain exposition for similar reasons, that it doesn't look good or it doesn't feel right. But it's a shame, since I feel they did exposition quite well with Aaron, and most my criticism would be the lack of that certain exposition. As I said again at the start of the video, issue 2 is already out. Maybe we will get more lore or explanation of some of those parts in that. What I want to end on is that Fireborn seems to have been a surprise hit. The first issue sold out and got a second print, and that is pretty common for first issues like this. But it also got a third and fourth print, and the second issue has had at least a second print, and I think there is something here. It's not speculators or scalpers inflating Firebomb. I easily can see why this is working for some readers. And it is a good thing if a comic like this can come out of nowhere and be a success. We need more Firebombs, more comics by people you've probably not heard of that look good enough or intriguing enough that you try them out. We need more of that and less Helverines. I don't think this is for the majority of my subscribers, but if you're looking for some new talent or a book that might fill a void, I think Firebomb has potential here. This first one isn't without flaw, but I would be happy to wish the creators nothing but continued success with it. One day, we might be at Firebomb issue 100, and whatever flaws I found in issue 1, they have long since been dealt with. I think Firebomb deserves 7 thumbs up.